Welcome to Follow That Food, the show that takes you around the world to find the beginning, middle, and end of the world's best food stories. On this edition, it's red berry crop to Thanksgiving dollop as we follow that cranberry. First, we're wading deep into the heart of classic cranberry country. Then we'll dunk a whole lot of designer donuts here in this Bowery bakery before we make for the marketplace with our fine red fruit. Then we're an Hawaiian sunset away from a very unusual family reunion. Then it's up and away for a first-class sea bass aboard a training plane in Dallas, Texas. Then a comfortable southern finale with American cuisine queen Paula Deen. So put the pot on the boil and slice that turkey as we follow that cranberry. Hello, I'm Gordon Elliott, and welcome to the Pine Barrens of southern New Jersey, home to not only one of the oldest cranberry farms in America, but also one of the best.
The Pine Barrens is a very sparsely populated area located in the center of the East Coast megapolis, and it has farmers that have years and generations of experience, and it really does produce some of the finest cranberries in the country.
I think of the cranberry as being an American icon. They're grown here. There's very little cranberries grown the rest of the world. Americans consume about 400 million pounds of cranberries each year, and that's about 90% of the world's cranberries. I like to say cranberries are little surprises. They're packed with antioxidants. So they have vitamin C, they have fiber, which Americans don't get enough of. And New Jersey's Pine Barrens are an ideal place to grow cranberries.
The perfect cranberry requires three things, which this farm has. Low nutrient, sandy soil, enough for the cranberry to grow, but not so many nutrients that the vine grows and strangles the cranberry. Number two, low, moderate, all year round weather. In other words, not too much heat, otherwise the vines will die. And finally, water. Lots and lots and lots of fresh water.
In New Jersey, on average, cranberry growers own about 10 acres of surrounding land for every acre of bog that they have. And the reason for that is they need to protect and ensure that supply of good, clean water.
Joe and Tom Darlington are fifth and sixth generation cranberry farmers, and they continue a truly American crop begun by their forebears, some of New Jersey's first settlers, who saw Native Americans growing the crop on these same marshlands in the 18th century.
This variety that we're walking in now is Early Blacks. This has been around for hundreds of years, probably a selection from the wild, and it was cultivated by my ancestors, but they basically took what was naturally occurring and just enhanced it. As you can see, we're flooding this bog so the gathering crew can gather the cranberries in off the surface with a minimum of resistance from the vines underneath.
I see, the more water you put them in, that releases the cranberries and brings them up.
Right, and then the easier they float.
A cranberry bog normally is like what you see out here. It's dry. It's only when we harvest it or when we protect it from winter kill that it's flooded.
The harvest starts in late September or early October and runs through till about the 1st of November. The wet harvesting is what you see here. The bogs are flooded up partially, and then the berries are knocked loose and float to the top. The berries are very buoyant. Then the berries are all gathered into one place and elevated out of the bog.
We eat two kinds of cranberries. Cranberries that have been wet harvested like these, which are intended for processing. In other words, juices, or most likely the cranberries that we get out of a can and use on Thanksgiving Day. Then there's another kind of harvesting, dry harvesting. That's for the fresh cranberry that you want to buy and you want to use as a finished berry.
The dry harvest occurs just as the name implies, with the bog dry. They're raked off of the vines, and it's a much gentler process. The dry harvested berries are generally used for fresh cranberries.
Talk about fresh cranberries. These guys were just picked a few minutes ago. They're dumped into this holding tank, separated from any vegetable matter or vines, and then off a conveyor belt and onto a truck, then out on the highway, and they are reincarnated as their next cranberry creation.
Cranberries, when they're fresh, They have a little air pockets, and when they're ripe, they're firm and they bounce. So the better they bounce, the riper they're going to be, and that's how the growers know what to package.
But our cranberries have already hit their first port of call. Just a few miles away from their birth in a bog in New Jersey, the first batch has stopped off here in Manhattan, where they're going to be part of one of the best donuts ever made. The donut plant has been voted by food critics and doyens of donut dining as the best donuts in New York. And that's saying something. Owned, baked and frosted by third-generation donut decorator Mark Israel. He sells his wicked wares to high-end gourmet stores. So when he makes any frosting or filling, it must be seasonal, fresh, and simply the best. So what could be better for his discerning donut diners than one of America's best berries?
You picked these, right, Gordon?
I was there when they picked. I assisted in the picking, as I will assist you in the making of them into a glaze for the perfect donut.
We're going to start off with fresh cranberries, and we puree them.
I was expecting something a lot fussier.
Very simple. You know, sometimes the simple is the best. Nothing but the best.
For your little deep-fried lovelies.
Every step of the way, the best. Now we have the pureed cranberries, and we're mixing them into sugar and spring water.
How many years have you been making donuts, Mark?
This is 8 years I've been doing it.
8 years.
My grandfather has the recipe, and I just took the recipe and I used a little bit more natural ingredients than he did. We always used only the fruit to flavor the glaze.
You cast the perfect cranberry into your glaze.
These are the donuts that we just made.
Right.
So what we do is we drown the donut in glaze.
But that's a darker looking glaze than the one that was in the pot.
This glaze has been marinating for about 8 hours. So it took on the color of the skin of the cranberry.
Yeah. This is the real reason I'm following my cranberry, so I can eat your donuts. Do you mind if I try one?
I want you to.
Okay. Fresh cranberry glaze.
Fluffy.
Oh my goodness. That's fantastic. Sweet and tart.
Right.
All you get with an artificial flavoring is sweet. This is a full range of cranberry flavors.
Yeah. Nature can do better than that.
Mark, thank you very much.
You're welcome,
Here,
Gordon.
thanks.
Come again, anytime.
I will.
And bring your cranberries.
So there you have it, a wholly wholesome New York state of mind, straight off the vine. The cranberry was known as the great democratizer of American cuisine. It was written in the early 1800s that Yankees ate it cold with nearly every meal and every form of meat. But today, we drink most of our cranberries. 95% of what we take in as cranberry is in a juice form. Coming up, we follow our cranberries to the biggest market in the world. Not a fruit market, but the New York Stock Exchange, and how the power lunch is really eaten. Next on Follow That Food. Welcome back. So far we've been to the bog, where our traditional turkey time treats get their tart start, and seen a whole other way to bake with our berries. But now we're taking it to the street. Wall Street, that is. On this street in 1792, 24 men got together and started trading shares. They met under a buttonwood tree that was just along the wall of the northern perimeter of Manhattan. Well, that became known as Wall Street, and that buttonwood tree grew into that, the New York Stock Exchange. And when it comes to Wall Street, cranberries are loved most by bears, not bulls. In fact, bears so love the little berries, they build their dens near cranberry bogs. So keep an eye out on who's eating the cranberries. And it's this private, elegant den of dining that has hosted a cavalcade of capitalists since 1898. And it's been Tom's privilege here in the members' dining room as the executive chef to feed these hard-working men and women of America. And you've chosen something simple, easy, and something you say these guys eat every day. You send sandwiches to the floor.
I have a specialty sandwich. I'm going to make a sun-dried cranberry aioli. We'll start out, we'll put our 4 egg yolks in our blender. We're going to add our vinegar to it. And then what I do here is I add my cranberries. And voila.
So there it is.
There it is, Gordon.
So you keep blending it till it reaches this kind of
Yeah,
consistency,
thick
huh?
consistency like mayonnaise.
So there's 1,366 members of the New York Stock Exchange.
Yes.
And they all want a sandwich straight away.
Right
So
away.
in an hour and a half, you have to make that many sandwiches.
Yes. Whatever they want it quick, good, and get it to me.
Well, let's get their lunch ready.
Okay.
So while Tom assembles a single cranberry stuffed serving, his team of assistants prepare thousands of custom-ordered, palate-pleasing platefuls for hungry, one-handed heroes of American commerce. Who's the sandwich
It's for Peter Lacey.
Peter Lacey. Peter Lacey. Is that Peter Lacey? Sir, Thomas has brought your sandwich to you.
Thomas, thank you very much.
I made a sun-dried cranberry aioli. It's on panettone bread, a nice roasted turkey.
What do you do, Peter, that you're so good you get a sandwich delivered to you on the floor of the New York
Right now
Stock
I'm a
Exchange?
specialist in these stocks right here. We got Scripps, USA, right, the whole panel right
Scripps,
here.
the parent company of Food Network. No wonder you're getting the sandwich.
Funny how that works.
You know, when you invited me down to have lunch with you today at the New York Stock Exchange members dining room, I thought I'd have a chair at least. Oh, that's great. It's spicy. It's sweet. I'd shake your hand, but it's covered in cranberry sauce.
It's very nice. I mean, the turkey and the cranberry, great.
Thanks for having me, Peter. Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you.
And one of the far-flung states of this great union, Hawaii, awaits us for a cranberry constellation next. Being one of only 3 fruits native to North America, the cranberry's a pretty lonely guy, but he does have a distant cousin here in Hawaii, known as the ohelo berry, or poha berry, which is one of the few native fruits of Hawaii, and was used in ancient ceremonies as an offering to Pele, goddess of nearby volcano Kilauea. But here at the Orchid Resort at Mauna Lani, they're offering up our favorite berries in a whole new way. So we're going to take our beloved cranberry and mix it with James Babian's favorite local berry here in Hawaii, which is called the
Poha berry.
What are you going to do with this exotic mix?
We're going to make a cranberry poha chutney to complement our spice-rubbed roast venison. To start the chutney, we start with a little shallots and some butter. Then we add the cranberries, the poha, and the tamarind. Now as it starts to cook, the berries are going to begin to release their juices. At that point, we'll add our dried spices, about a cup of sugar, and then we're going to add some sherry vinegar. Now we're going to just cook that down until we get a nice consistency.
Okay, we'll pause for our poha berry to percolate. While the chutney percolates, James gives the meat a spice rub and then pan-sears and roasts the venison. So now it's been in the oven and it's ready for its next stage.
Now we're going to prepare the sauce.
Marinated cranberries in brandy and Merlot wine are reduced on a low flame with veal and venison stock. Here are our cranberry co-stars ready to hit the plate.
We'll start with our corn cake, a little bit of the maitake mushroom over here. We'll add a couple of our chops. These are the warabi, or the fiddlehead ferns as they're known in the mainland. Then we just need a little sauce here.
Oh, yeah. And now, James, your chosen chutney, your crowning cranberry. This is the result of that beautiful cranberry cooked down.
So we're gonna generously put some nice cranberry chutney here.
Okay, please.
After you, I
Okay,
insist.
I want this chutney. The sauce and the chutney. It's a cranberry collision. Oh, I love venison. Woo! It's like a big, loud note in the mouth. See, the cranberries have such a strong flavor because you need it because the spice rub is strong. Otherwise, you get wiped out.
It's bounce. We're looking for the bounce. Yeah.
Bing, bing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Good.
It's a wonderful meal. Thanks for creating it,
Thanks
James.
for coming to join us.
In our all-American pursuit, let's see what a cranberry can do in a cabin at 35,000 feet. It'll get you flying. Ocean Spray started out making cranberry sauce and then found the secret to their success by making juice. Oh, by the way, they're not a big corporation. Ocean Spray is a cooperative of cranberry growers. They're little guys who make a big impact. In a moment, we're taxiing in Texas aboard an aircraft like you've never seen before. Up next on Follow That Cranberry. Welcome back. So far, we followed our blue blood berry from Manhattan Island to the Hawaiian Islands. And now we're going to cure our craving with a cranberry-filled Chilean sea bass created by one of the busiest cooks in the country. In 1957, they called them stewardesses, and they came here to be trained by American Airlines before they were put on their planes. And every graduating student from then till today has had their photograph taken on that staircase. But nowadays, there's a lot more than flight attendants being trained and fed in this facility. Over the years, American Airlines have extended their Dallas facility into a major conference and training center for executives from every kind of industry. Each day, Executive Chef Eddie Palomino prepares 5,000 meals for not only American Airline employees, but fussy financiers, demanding doctors, and lip-smacking lawyers. He favors lighter food, but with strong flavors. He's a huge fan of cranberries because of their texture and acidic punch. Great, he says, for his prized fish dish, the sea bass.
Today we're going to make a pepper relish.
A pepper relish?
Cranberry pineapple pepper relish.
And what's this beautiful piece of fish you got here?
That is a Chilean sea bass. We're going to saute it and make the relish and then serve it on top.
Okay, well you go for it and I'll just watch, all right?
While this is cooking, we're going to put together our pepper relish.
Cranberries, pineapple, sugar, apple cider vinegar, roasted habanero peppers, serrano peppers, cilantro.
And then peach schnapps, okay?
Peach schnapps? Did you put heat on that or you just toss it around and leave it there?
Just toss it around, that's it. Okay, we're going to serve the sea bass on top of a bed of spinach, slightly sauteed.
So now this is where you put your relish down?
So we're going to do this.
That's pretty.
This, and we take a little bit of the cooler here and voila.
So you're telling me one day if I was lucky enough to be sitting in first class at 35,000 feet, that could land on my lap?
Yes, it could.
My goodness. Isn't it a terrible thing I have to travel coach? Okay, let's try this.
Okay, let's try it.
That's wonderful. See, when you look at cranberries, I immediately expect sweet. But sweet and fish don't necessarily go together.
No, they don't.
This, with the cilantro and the tangy cranberry, you created something new here, Eddie.
Very good.
Eddie, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for helping me.
Thank you.
When we return, we're flying south for a surprise visit with one Food Network friend who'll show us how to trim a bird with very basic know-how. Next on Follow That Cranberry. Welcome back. We've bred them, we've spread them, we've embellished them, and we've relished them. And now it's time to learn how cranberries became a Thanksgiving staple on our holiday table. Cranberries were so important to Ulysses S. Grant that he stopped the war to have special shipments brought in 1864 so he could feed his soldiers a proper Thanksgiving meal. And it wouldn't have been so without the cranberry. In fact, today, of all the cranberries that are eaten whole in America, 20% of them are consumed on Thanksgiving Day. Historians tell us that the first feast consisted of the few native foods that the Pilgrims grew, such as cranberries, and other dishes brought by Native Americans. So when we wanted to follow our cranberry to its quintessential incarnation as a Thanksgiving flavoring, there was only one kitchen to enter. And if you're talking traditional American cooking, you've got to talk about Paula Deen, the Baroness of the Buffet, star of Paula's Home Cooking on Food Network. Paula?
Hey, Gordon.
It's an honor to be in your kitchen.
Oh, I'm thrilled for you to be here.
Now, I've watched you and I've studied you carefully, and I can see that what you do is create great American home cooking. And what is it you're going to do with the cranberry, the most American of fruits?
I'm going to make the best fresh cranberry sauce you ever ate. If this one doesn't do it for you, I'll eat your hat. Now we're just going to wait for our water and our sugar to boil.
Is there anything in this recipe that you can screw up?
You wouldn't want to use an old, shriveled up berry because that can make your sauce bitter.
Now, what are you doing? You're adding in the cranberry?
I'm adding the cranberry, and we're going to let those simmer just for a little while. Do you hear the skins popping?
Ooh,
Here?
I do too. Listen to that.
They've started getting soft. So we're gonna add 1 apple. Then we're gonna add walnuts. Then we got our raisins. Isn't that looking delicious already? Now we're gonna put in about a 1/2 cup of Grand Marnier, Gordon.
1/2 cup?
Yes.
Okay, this is no shy recipe. This can get up and dance on the table itself
Yeah.
at Thanksgiving.
All right, we got exactly a 1/2 cup of orange juice and a little lemon juice.
Right.
For the
That seems like a
cinnamon.
lot of cinnamon.
It's a teaspoon. So we're just gonna let this simmer down
Right.
until the liquid has evaporated off of it pretty good and all your fruits are tender.
Oh, wow. It looks almost like a jam now.
I know it.
Sorry, I'm a little impatient. I just want to try a little of this.
What do you think?
Oh, my goodness. The fresh cranberry, the flavor is so strong.
Aren't they?
It's amazing. I didn't understand it when I first tried cranberry on turkey in this country because it was just too sweet. It was like putting jelly on your meat. But this
Yeah.
makes sense because it ain't that
It's
sweet.
tart. Right.
It is.
We
It's a
didn't
little
put that
tart.
much sugar.
Because cranberries are tart. Paula Dean, I couldn't think of a nicer home to come to, or a nicer meal, or a nicer way to end a wonderful show. Thank you.
You're a dog.
The Countess of Cranberry.
Anything for you, Gordon.
Oh, you sweet thing. If you're in Savannah, you must drop by and suck on her cranberries.
By all means.
Well, it's the perfect American ending to the great American fruit. In fact, the early settlers of this country made it illegal to pick a cranberry anywhere until it had achieved perfect ripeness. And our show has achieved perfect ripeness, and it's time for us to go. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again next time on Follow That Food.